very important to understand is we are currently in the fog of war. There's a lot of information coming out about what has occurred down south and what is currently occurring within Gaza. As we know, the claim of the quote of 40 Israeli babies were beheaded does not seem to have the source backing that we previously believed. How did that reach mass media? Most likely, there was one soldier who gave a testimony to one of the journalists. The journalist didn't really understand what they were saying. Probably, maybe there was one child that was seen to be beheaded, or maybe he didn't interpret it correctly. Again, seeing trauma, seeing people dead in their beds is going to affect you very, very badly. And then that got swept into the media storm. We've also seen people reporting that people aren't even dead. I've seen already reports that everything is a conspiracy. There's nothing actually happening. Crisis actors. No Gazans have been killed. They're just dolls. Only Israeli military were killed. No civilians were killed. This is very much a war between, not just on the ground, between Hamas militants and other Palestinian factions and the IDF, but also an online war between pro-Palestinians and pro-Israelis, both trying to control a narrative. Something that was very, very drastically different in Israel's reporting this conflict is that usually the state of Israel has always been very, very careful about releasing images of people that have been killed. It has always been a taboo. Palestinians do not see it this way. In every single conflict, Palestinians have showcased very graphic images of Palestinians that have been killed either by the IDF or other different cases, and Israel has not. Even during the Second Intifada, where buses were being blown up by Palestinian militants with civilians in them, they did not release photos of the bodies. A few days ago, Israel released images of essentially people burned alive in cars. They released images claiming to be children burned alive and dead children as well, just the faces blurred. And that is something that has never happened before in the Israeli media, the official government body doing such a thing. And it just showcases how desperate the sides are getting in terms of controlling the narrative about what's actually happening on the ground. Currently, the current thing that is currently that's being discussed at the moment is regarding a bombing that seemed to have taken place when Gazans were trying to flee to southern Gaza. You see a column of vehicles, and then suddenly one of the vehicles explode. Palestinian channels are saying that it was due to an airstrike by the IDF or due to a drone strike, while other people are saying that the car exploded on its own, and then some people are claiming that that was due to the IDF planting a bomb on the car, and then other people are saying that Hamas did it to install fear and propaganda that Israel's targeting those who are fleeing. And so this is happening right now, and we won't know what is right or what is wrong until maybe months after the war is over, which could be in a long time from now, or even years. We see this even on a daily basis, sometimes with information. All it takes is one report that looks believable to my side, and it gets spread around, because if you see all these horrible images that are real, that have been confirmed, and then you just see one more image that looks real because it goes with everything else, then you just get swept into believing it as well. And this also goes into another point regarding when people were looking at the photos, when they were talking about the 40 babies that were killed, or talking about civilians being targeted, and people were focused on this information that came out as fake and not really knowing, or, oh, you see, they're trying to spread false information. But it's also important to know that during a time of conflict, a lot of the times people just share things very, very fast and widely because of misinformation, and people don't really know what they're reporting. They misreport things. And just as someone said in the chat, be very, very wary of everything you see in social media. I follow both Palestinian spokesperson units as well as Israeli, and they report on the same situation very, very differently. Like, for example, probably some of you have seen that an IDF helicopter was blown up. There's a photo of an IDF, I think a Yasul helicopter that was blown up in a field. when Palestinian channels reported it, they said that we managed to attack a helicopter full of soldiers and injuring them and even killing them. But when the IDF reported it, they said this didn't even happen now. This happened a week ago, and none of our soldiers were injured. Which one is telling the truth? We don't know, because the Palestinians have an interest in showcasing that we are able to take out the helicopters of the IDF, and Israel has an interest in not giving a victory to the other side and saying essentially, see that they were able to harm our side and do that. And so both sides are playing this game and not certain information getting out there, certain information not being put out. And so be wary of the things that you see and try to look for consistency in the reports. Both, if you see most Palestinian channels saying one thing and the IDF saying the same thing, most likely those reports are correct. If both sides that are completely opposed to one another are saying the exact same thing about information, it's most likely true. But be careful about this, because I'll give you an example. A few months ago, there was a shooting between two people in Jerusalem, and the Palestinian it's called, I think, the Palestinian Resistance Channel. It's like a very, very big group that talks about Palestinian militancy attacks against civilians and IDF soldiers. And they were saying that we have reports of a resistance operation against settlers in Jerusalem. And then a few minutes later, the story was confirmed to just be a criminal activity between two gangs. And that post by the group was deleted. So you need to be careful about what you're seeing and who's saying what, and why are they posting this? How is this helping their current narrative? It doesn't mean that everything they're saying is false, but you need to be wary of the information that is coming out from every single side right now and to not be swayed too much by them.